Welcome to Listen to the Heartbeat with Aaron G. and our co-host Melissa D. And
Hi.
we have two special guests. Melissa, would you please introduce our special guests?
So our two
today?
special guests are my mom and my dad, Mr. Juan De Lira and Bertha Magdaleno.
Welcome, Juan. Welcome. Our generation, the generation under us, they didn't get what we got. We got 3 psychological disorders. One was called respect. The other one was called common sense. The other one was called worth ethics. And so, Mr. Juan, please elaborate on that and tell us how proud you all are of your daughter today.
I am very, very proud that she took the time to get some education and something that she likes, something that she enjoys. I always believe that whatever kind of work do you do, whether you sweep offices or clean or you're a doctor, you should always do it your best. And I think she is that kind of a person that whatever she does, she makes sure that she does her best to do it.
I can testify to that. The little time that I've been blessed to have her presence, I can testify that she does the best that she can. What do you think about those 3 psychological disorders that we got growing up, and how can we be an example to pass that on to the generation that Melissa's in?
Don't be shy. Just say how you feel.
I am very proud of her because she's such a beautiful from the inside and the outside. And she's such a great young lady. And she has a whole future ahead of her. And she's always been so respectful. Very proud of her. I love her. Love her. And I'm happy for her. And I'm looking forward to her future.
Good. Melissa, tell me how that messes with your insides, because you're just glowing. She's always glowing like this, right?
Yeah.
And when she's not glowing, I'll pull her to the side and say, what's going on now? And so what you two share, we get the opportunity of knowing that part of her here in this radio department. But how does it feel hearing that come from?
Good. It feels really good coming from my parents because we're lovable. We care about each other. We tell each other how much we love each other. But hearing it in this type of environment, it's different. So it makes me feel good about myself, and I love you guys.
Oh,
you.
wow. So I'm supposed to be in the radio station, but I felt this energy come in the door. And the type of energy that I felt, I had to stop so I can respect and honor you.
Well, thank you.
What I felt was I'm at the end of the baby boomer generation. But when the door opened, the frequency that I felt was like you like further. You probably got a decade on me. Wait, go ahead. Let's go ahead and see. So I'm 59. I'm at the end of the baby boomer generation. But I felt the energy that was way more closer to the generation past us was called the silent generation. And that's the energy that I felt come through the door. That's why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it. And so I wanted to honor, respect, and bring you over here so that we can actually do a podcast so you can see what your daughter does throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you 52?
59.
72.
See? You closer to the other generation.
Very close.
I felt that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. A different generation.
Oh, yeah.
Completely.
Completely.
Yeah.
Hardworking, respectful, always willing to help. So it's a completely different generation than the new generation we have today, or the one that you live in. But we all have our goods and our bads.
So I'm at the end of the baby boomer generation, and what I've learned from you all that were closer to the silent generation, and they called the great generation because I was raised by my grandparents and great grandparents. Respect was automatic. And one thing about that respect, it gave us responsibilities. We knew upon awakening and prior to going to sleep, we all had a responsibility to family. We all had a role to play. I never forget, right? Look, this is in 1966. So my family and them had a lot of property in Arkansas. My great grandmother said, "Woo!" Right? That meant go get the water from the well. Right? Because they out in the field. But then she say, "Woo-hoo." And that meant to go get the water from the spring.
Uh-oh.
Right? And there was an automatic work ethic that came along with that respect. And then there was common sense, because common sense told me, I heard that sound that say go get it from the spring, but I went and got it from the well, and then I was asked to go get my own switch.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And so common sense grew. However, we're in a generation now where somehow other children picked up what the gringo taught his children, and that's to be entitled.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think that this started me learning from Mr. Wan that even though we built this, we don't go out there proudly and say we built it. We continue to respect the land. We continue to respect the people around us. We continue to grow our families, and we continue to try to stay together. That's what I learned. And here's something I'll ask you, Mr. Wan. I had the opportunity, as well as you, to listen to my parents, their parents, and their parents. And now I'm listening to this younger generation. But when I'm dealing with the younger generation, they kind of are not clear on me, because while they be talking to me, I could be hearing my mother and my grandmother, and I'd be saying, yes, ma'am, and they say, you talking to me? And I say, oh no. No, I'm not talking to you. Tell me about those experiences.
Wow. How can I tell you? The way our parents used to talk to us prior to the silent generation or your generation is, again, when my mother sent us to get something to the store. I learned, or my generation learned, that you better do it. Whether it was getting water from the well, because we did that too, or feeding the chickens, or any of the home duties that we had. And we did it because if we didn't do it, at the end of the day, we would not get a chance to go outside and play with our kids.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Running Brothers Podcast, a podcast for runners, where we make running fun. I'm your host, Rich Sharenga, and here with me is my running buddy, friend, and co-host,
Chris Mejia.
We're here to help you make the strides you need toward achieving your running goals. Whether you're a seasoned runner or just starting out, this podcast is for you. We'll be discussing all things from tips, tricks, and anything to help you stay motivated. Also advice on your running form and the great gear out there to get. The Running Bros Podcast is for you. So let's get out and run. Let's hit the pavement. Let's tune in. We'll also talk about where are some good places to run for workouts and what are some really good races to run out there, whether they're 5K races or marathons. Chris and I also want to talk to runners like you and expert runners too, and even talk to people who can help us run well. Trainers, coaches, for your daily dose of running inspiration. Find us on Instagram on the Running Bros Podcast, a podcast for runners.
And that's one generation that, the new generation is never going to have, because we used to get up on the street and we used to play for 3 or 4 hours, rough games, where you fell down, hit your head, you never went to the hospital, you get up and continue and play. And once your mom got out there and say, "Come on in," you better go in. Because if you don't, then you're going to be in trouble. So I don't know, that's something that the new generation will never be able to experience. Something that you probably lived through also. Even though it's 10 years younger, but still the same principles. You better obey your mom. The dad, sometimes got involved, but the mom was the one that always carried the weight, for everything. But I don't know. It's something that, like I said, the new generation will never be able to experience. It was fun.
What's your take on that?
Well, I grew up with my mom. My mom was mom and dad.
Yeah.
It was mom and dad. So, our belief, we were brought up Catholic, very Catholic, and I think she did a great job by bringing us up, being respectful, and compared to the generation nowadays, it's like these kids don't know what the real life is out there. Well, being hardworking, they just way different than my generation when I grew up. Nowadays, kids just want to be on their phone, device, their games. They don't believe in being organized. They just, I don't know. That's just how it is.
No hard work, not hardworking.
Yeah.
So, Melissa,
Yeah.
with that said, tell us about, she's going to do a whole series hint, hint, on cell phone distraction and why it's important to detox from the digital technology. So, would you share about how you see in the generation you were in the distractions with digital devices and not being organized, not remembering that, I still have this problem in my house, right? With young adults. And I just remind them, I say, look, I come from a generation where I'm only going to ask you once, right?
Right.
So tell me about how I can learn to have a little bit more patience because of the digital addiction.
The phone is definitely a distraction. It is. When you could be talking, when you're at dinner, right? Or we're eating and we're all on our phones. We're not talking to each other. We're not talking about our day. So yeah, the phone is definitely a distraction in a negative way, where you're not looking up, you're not socializing, you're not talking. So it's all bad.
I want to thank you three for coming to listen to the heartbeat. And that's just how easy a podcast can go. This is really an episode. When I edit it, I will make sure I send it to you
Yes.
out of respect and honor for you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.